Hey guys, I said I'd do a quick training today on basically how I manage my workload, my workflow. I've mentioned it a few times before. This is the same system that I train my clients in, and all the coaches that work with us here at One Source. So I thought I'd do a quick video just to go ahead and put something together. This is going to be just an overview of exactly how I actually work it. If you want more detail, if you want to set up a session with me, I'd be more than happy to work with you to go ahead and individualize it to yourself, obviously, based on your own unique needs. But just to give you a general idea. So, what do I do personally? Well, I use a couple different things. I use, first off, you may be familiar or you may have heard me talk about, you may have come across it previously. GTD stands for Getting Things Done. The name is actually a little bit misleading because it's really not so much about getting more done. It's more about stress free productivity and managing your workflow. Um, but in addition, with GTD, I also incorporate Evernote. Now, just to be clear, Evernote is the note taking app that I use and the capture tool that I use, similar to OneNote, Apple Notes. A lot of them are there's probably some of them that may even be better out there. I personally have just been using this for the last probably 8-10 years, so I kind of stick with what I know. But again, feel free to use anything that works for you. You can adapt it based on what I'm going to show you here today. So, in the event that you're not familiar with GTD, just a very brief overview. Basically, GTD, Getting Things Done, was created by David Allen. And it's just basically all about a systematic approach to managing your workflow. The methodology is based on the simple truth that, what's it say, that the more information bouncing around inside our heads, the harder it is to decide what needs your attention, which I think everybody can relate to. Wind up having you spend more time thinking about what you should be doing about the task, and trying to manage it and trying to remember it, rather than doing what the important thing is, getting things done, tackling it head on. We wind up feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, which ultimately is going to lead in, well, less productivity. So with GTD, there's 5 steps that you're going to go ahead and you're going to incorporate. Okay? The system consists of these 5 steps, and I'll break them down for you very briefly. Um, First and most important is the capture. You need to get very clear on anything that is coming in that is requiring any type of headspace or anything else, any action, anything that you have to remember. You need to capture it. And I'm going to give you some examples of what I use it for here in a moment. But the first step is to capture everything. Okay, the next step, process. Once you have it captured, the tool we're going to use is Evernote. We're going to capture everything into our Evernote inbox, and then what are you going to do? You're going to process and organize it. Okay, you're going to process it. You're going to decide, if it is something you need to deal with, or do you need to delegate it, whatever the case may be. You're going to organize it into different lists, and or primarily, is it something that needs to be scheduled? You need to put into your calendar. I'll go through all of it with you in some examples here. Then you're going to review it. Once you have everything captured and it's been processed and organized, well, you're going to set up your review process. I like to do mine first thing in the morning, where while I'm planning out my day, I like to take, maybe 15 minutes, go through all my list and review everything. It doesn't mean I get everything done, by the way, and that's not what GTD is about. It's just making sure that you feel comfortable, that you've captured everything, nothing is slipping through the cracks, you're reviewing it on a regular basis, and you're going to get done whatever you can get done. But obviously, there's always going to be something, well, depending on how busy you are, that may not get done. But they won't be getting done because you forgot about them, or you misplaced them, or, you just basically weren't organized. you're going to make a decision, a conscious decision of what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. So that's going to come with the review process. Like I say, I generally do mine in the morning. Then on the weekends, I'd like to go ahead and do a weekly review where I break everything down. I spend maybe about half hour, 45 minutes on a Sunday where I kind of break everything down, make sure I didn't, miss anything, and make sure that I'm set up nicely for the next week. And then you're going to engage. The engage process, I'm going to show you how I engage, but that's it. Now, it might not seem like much, but if you can learn to capture, process, organize, review before you engage with any of the actions that come in, you're going to see that it's going to make things very, very, I guess, effective. There's going to be a nice flow to everything that we're doing here. So, what is Evernote? Yeah, that's a brief overview on GTD. Evernote, you're probably familiar with it. If not, I'm sure you're familiar with something similar. But basically, it's just a note-taking app. Okay, again, Evernote is what I've been using for several years. It is great. It's fantastic. Is it the best? I don't know. Truthfully, I say use whatever you're comfortable with, but just as long as you can capture all the things in the format that I'm telling you, and you can add tags or some type of filtering to each note that you're creating. But primarily, it's just a way that you can capture everything. Evernote is great because you can take notes with it. So if you're in a meeting, you can take a quick meeting note, and you can go ahead and get it filed into your system. So you're going to review it and process it and engage with it when the time is right. You can go ahead and you can use it for anything digital. Like if I'm in a meeting, if I'm writing down a bunch of different with pen and paper, any type of meeting notes and that at the end of it, I can just snap a quick picture of it, boom, put it into my system. If something comes in the post to me, say it's a bill or something like that, take a picture of it, stick it into my system. If I'm out someplace and I get a receipt and I need to go ahead and make sure I get that processed, take a picture of it. Everything is going to be in some format, is going to be placed into your Evernote. And again, I'm going to show you how I do it personally, and you can adapt it based on yourself. Another thing it's great for is audio notes, where you can take audio notes. So if I'm out for a walk and I get a great idea, which now, believe it or not, happens now and again, I can go ahead then and I can just basically leave myself a quick note. It could be an idea, it could be an action that I need to take, it could be a reminder to talk to somebody. If I'm out and I'm like, I need to make sure I talk to so-and-so about that when I meet them, I'm going to leave a quick voice note for myself. Then when I review that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it into that individual's meeting notes to make sure that I don't miss it. And again, I'll step you through all these. I know I'm going fast, but just to give you an idea. And again, this is just an overview. If you do like the concept of it, and if you think it's something you can do that may be useful for you, let me know. We can set up a one-to-one, and we can go ahead and I can tailor it specifically around your needs. Because it's going to be different for everybody. But let's just focus for a moment on the first step there. Capture. Again, I believe they're all important, obviously. But I think if you don't get this one right, the system is kind of useless. So you have to get very good at capturing. David Allen likes to say, your mind is for having ideas, not for holding them, which I could not agree with more. Basically, with GTD, the concept is, if it's going to require any mental headspace, it's worth capturing. I don't care how big or how small. It could be a simple little thing, but if a shopping list, you could think, for an example, I need to pick up dog food. Okay, put it on your shopping list right away, which is going to be in your in one of your list. If you're like I say, if you're out someplace and you think, I got to remember to tell so and so this at the meeting, capture it. Nothing is too small, because you don't want to be using up that mental headspace trying to remember. What was I supposed to say so and so? What was I supposed to be picking up at the shop? I knew there was something. That type of thing. We're trying to eliminate all of that. The thing is to collect everything externally, so your mind is free, for the job of remembering, and you can focus on processing and completing the task. So that's basically the idea behind David Allen's getting things done, and why capturing is so important. Important, I should say. Sorry, guys, it's really late. I'm doing this one late at night. Um, so, what are some things that just examples of things you should be capturing? Any type of professional task. If you get an idea for a project or a meeting, just emails. Emails are great because I tell you what I'm going to show you how to do is as emails come in, you're going to, if it's an actionable email, you're going to forward that to your Evernote inbox. That way you can go ahead and you can work it out as a project. I need to do X, Y, and Z. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, whatever you want to tag it as. In this particular project. If it's meetings, if it's, whatever it is, professional task, you're going to go ahead and capture it. Personal task, just different errands you want to run. If you get some idea, perfect example would be if I live out in the country a bit, I only go into the town so often. And so whatever I do is whenever I think of when I'm in the town, I have to do certain things, I tag it with the town name. So when I'm driving into the town, I'll say, oh, what do I need to do here? I just filter out very quickly on Evernote. Evernote, everything it will just come up automatically. Do all these things. I could have 15 different things. So nothing slips through the net. Okay, so, and I'm not trying to remember it. I've captured it. It's in my system. Just ideas, like I told you, if I'm out for a walk, I get an idea, I capture it. If you're planning, whether it be goals, could be travel plans, anything else, anything that you're planning, you can capture all those ideas, all that thought, all those thoughts, all that information. Just information and references. Again, if you get, if you're someplace and you're in a waiting room and you're flicking through the pages of a magazine, you see an interesting article, snap a picture of it. That's going to go into your inbox. What are you going to do? You're going to tag that as a reference, and when the time is right, you can retrieve that anytime you want, and you can read it. Just bills, like I do that with my bills, my receipts. I use it all the time for my receipts. If I'm out someplace, and if I always hang on to the physical receipt, obviously, but I don't need to be worried about when I'm going to process it, when I'm going to put it into my accounts, get it over, for my taxes and my returns and all that good stuff. I capture everything. I take a quick picture of it. Health and well-being, as far as just any type of medications you're on, any type of, whatever. I won't get into all the details, but you know what I'm trying to say. Or just little miscellaneous things. And so much more. So these are just some examples of things that I personally use it for, but I'm sure once you start using it, you're going to find a million things that you can start capturing. So, how do you process the inbox? Now, I'm going to show you quickly here, but again, this is just a quick overview. If you want to learn more too, and if you don't have time to schedule a one-to-one with me, go on to YouTube. There's a million different videos on YouTube of different people, the way they're using GTD, and the methodology behind it, how they process their inbox. So you can get a bunch of information on there. But very quickly, the way it should be done is just imagine right now you've captured everything and it's sitting inside nice and pretty inside your Evernote inbox. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to process and you're going to organize things. So as it comes in, at the beginning of the day, the end of the day, throughout the day, whenever you decide that you're going to process your inbox, you're going to go through your items, whatever you've captured in there. You're going to clean out. There's no point in just capturing stuff and letting everything sit in your inbox. You have to process that inbox. You have to organize that inbox. So as you're going through it, again, at least once a day, if not more, maybe twice a day, depending on how much stuff you have. First thing you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself the question as you go item by item, capture item by capture item. First thing is it actionable? Okay. If no, well, then you make a quick decision. You see the way it goes to the section there in red. No. Well, you're going to say, is this trash? Can I just delete this? Maybe I captured it, but I really don't need it. Is it a reference where I don't need it now, but I definitely want to hold on to it? Could be something that I feel I might need at a later stage. Or maybe it's an idea that you think, yeah, you know what, someday I may want to do that. You can tag it as, maybe someday maybe file that someday maybe I might need that. You can do a very quick search in Evernote. It'll be there for you. And again, that's the one thing about Evernote that's really good. The search feature on there is unbelievable. You can search by name, text, text and image, all kinds of different things. So all you have to do is just remember a little bit about it and you can find that. So if it's not actionable, that's what you're going to do. You're either going to save it as a reference, someday maybe file, or you're going to put it into the trash, get rid of it, you don't need it. Okay, if it is actionable, well, what are you going to do? Well, if it's a single step, well, then you're going to continue on. But if it's more than one step, like I said, maybe it's it's an email that you got. Maybe there's 3 or 4 different things. Maybe you might have to call somebody, book an appointment, show up for the meeting, send over some materials, do some research, whatever it is. All you're going to do is you're going to flag that as a project. You might put down, take 2 minutes just to think, what do I have to do on this? And just kind of create a little checklist within Evernote and put down what you need to do, a few little action items. Okay, so now you have a project assigned, and then you're going to tag it as I'm going to show you it in the demo. I'm going to do a live demo for you in just a minute here and show you how I process my stuff. Then what are you going to do? If it's just a single step, you're going to move to the next bit. Okay, really important, the 2-minute rule. If it's going to take you less, if it's only a single step, and it is actionable, it's only a single step, what are you going to do? You're going to use the 2-minute rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes, you're going to do it. Simple as that. If it's 2 minutes or less, you're going to go ahead. You're going to do it right then and there. If it's more than 2 minutes, you're not going to do it. Okay, you're going to do it, at the appropriate time. We're going to go ahead and get it slotted in, and you'll see how we're going to do that. And then from there, you're just going to continue to move on. Is it for you? If it's something you're actionable, you're going to go ahead and do that. Is it something that maybe you're waiting on somebody else to do? You're going to put it into your waiting for file. And again, this is only a brief overview, guys. You're going to delegate it, whatever the case may be. If it is for you, well, what you're going to do is you're going to decide, okay, is there a specific time? Is this an appointment? Do I need to put this into my calendar? And if it's not something with, a specific time, because that's really the only things that should be going in your calendar. Appointments with deadlines and the specific times that you have to do something. Other than that, you should basically be putting it into one of your lists and prioritizing it within that list. And I'm going to show you how I do that as well. So in a nutshell, and again, very brief, I know I'm just kind of flying through this, but very briefly, how you can go ahead and, you can process the stuff that you've captured in your inbox there. So, but the big thing to remember in there too, I always like to reinforce this as much as I can with my clients and my coaches, the 2-minute rule. That's so important because people tend to kind of put things in the system, put things, that, I have to do that later. If it takes less than 2 minutes, only one step, do it. Do it now, get it off your desk, get it off your plate. You don't need to be holding on to that. So, how are we going to filter things? This is what I love about Evernote, is the tagging within it. Tags are basically, and again, I'm going to show you some demos, but the tagging is what's so powerful. Because as you're creating all these different lists, you could wind up with a list that's got 50, 60, 100 things on it. Well, how are you going to filter through all those? You're going to filter through very quickly with your tags. And the way I like to tag items, and this I'll step you through, I like to use what's referred to as who, what, when, where, and why. These are the questions you're going to be asking yourself. You're going to ask yourself, like for an example, the first one, who's it for? Okay, is it for me? Is it for the business? Is it for one of my associates? Is it for somebody I'm having a meeting with that I got to remember to, pull up before I go into that meeting? Who's it actually for? first tag you're going to assign. Who's it for? Next thing you're going to assign, what is it? Is it a task? Is it a reference maybe that I got to read? Is it part of a project? Is it a note that I took down? Is it an idea? Is it just somebody's contact information? Somebody gave me a business card. I snapped a picture of it. That's a contact. Is it a call that I got to make sure that I do? Is it something I have to follow up on? Is it something that somebody told me they were going to do for me and I'm still waiting for it? Those are all the things that you're and more. Those are just samples of what it possibly could be. Next thing you're going to do is when. When am I going to do it? I use different tags, and you can tailor your own. But I use the tags similar, not always, but I'll use like, is it for something that I got to do today? I'll tag it as today. Is it something I got to do next week, next month, whenever? Meaning that there is no set time. It's just something I got to do. No due date on it. And again, I'll go into more detail of how I use those and a lot more different tags you can use for when. But you're going to assign the time when you're going to go ahead and process that particular action. Where am I going to do it? This is actually really good because if you're capturing a lot of different things, you should try to get in the habit of deciding where am I going to do this from. Is it something that I say, for an example, at my desk? I can only do it at my desk when I'm in front of my laptop. So that's going to be assigned to, I got to do it in the office. I got to do it at my desk. Could be something in the car, like, and it could be a combination of these two, by the way. But it could be like a phone call, for an example. So I know I'm getting in the car. I'm going to be driving for the next half hour. What can I knock off my list here? I just basically do a quick filter. I put the first tag I'll come up with is car. All the actions that I can do while I'm in the car will be there. It could be something creative, think time I like to do a lot, where I just think about a particular project or challenge or solution that I'm trying to come up with. I can do that in the car when I'm driving. A phone call, whatever. If it's a specific area, like if I'm going to a certain shop, I'll go ahead and create a tag for that shop. So when I walk into the grocery store, when I walk into the shopping mall, whatever the case may be, I'll go ahead and I'll just see, do I have a tag for that? If there is, I don't forget anything. I've captured everything. I've tagged it. When I'm walking into that shop or that town, whatever the case may be, I have all the things there. Like if I'm going into the local town here, it would be Tullamore. I'm going into Tullamore. Okay, going into Tullamore, what do I got to do? Oh, I really should get a haircut. I really need to stop in the credit union. Oh, I really need to go ahead and stop at the chemist. I really do need to stop at the shop or the tailor to drop off my dry cleaning. I got to get some whatever. You're what I'm trying to say here. But again, that way you've captured everything. You don't have to be trying to remember these things. Remember, get them out of your head and basically get them down in some format in one particular place that you have access to. And that's what we're doing here. Then, why am I doing it? Okay, why am I doing it? It's really important. There's a lot of things that basically, people just do them, but there's really no reason, that they do a lot of things. I'll go into this. I like to use, to prioritize things, I like to use the Eisenhower metrics, where basically, with everything that I'm doing, I'll say two questions. Is this urgent or is it not urgent? If it's urgent, I assign the tag urgent. And obviously urgent would be if it's something where there's a deadline, there's a cutoff. I promise somebody I'm going to get something over to them by the end of the day. That's urgent. Okay. If it's not urgent, it just means, I need to get this done. It doesn't need to be done for the next 4 or 5 days, next week, whatever. I'm going to tag that as not urgent. Okay, I'm going to get to it. I'm not going to forget about it because I'm reviewing, remember. Every day I'm reviewing my list. And if something goes from the category of not urgent, all of a sudden I've let a few days lapse and I haven't gotten it done yet, and all of a sudden I might change that tag to urgent, if you get what I mean. And then you have also two, important or not important. And that's a difficult one. You have to do a bit of work on that one because people initially think, well, everything I capture is important. It's not important. There's a lot of things you're going to capture realistically that aren't that important. But then you're going to filter things, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Like I know I could have 500 things on a list. Just imagine a list that I've been dumping all this stuff into. I've got 500 things in there. And I'm like, that's overwhelming. What should I be working on? I'm going to filter it by 2 tags. I'm going to tag, okay, what's urgent and what's important. And all of a sudden, that 500 list might actually be condensed down to 13 things that I got to do. Or if I get those done, or if maybe I'm not in a position where I can do a lot of those things, I can do a search for what's not urgent, but it is important, because those things are really they're critical. You have to get those things done as well. They're important just because they don't have a deadline, but I think you get the point what I'm trying to make. So I use why I'm doing certain things, the priority that I like to use, the method that I like to use, the Eisenhower metric, along with a few other things that I'm going to show you. So what other tools do I use besides for capturing things? There's all kinds of different capture tools. Everything should ultimately end up in your Evernote, because you're going to take pictures of it, or voice notes, or set little reminders to do it where that thing is. But first thing obviously is your email. Emails come in. That's an actionable email. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to forward that on. If it takes more than 2 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to forward that into my Evernote. Physical mail. I get something in the post, whether it be a bill, an invitation, whatever. Take a picture of it. Okay, use your camera, take a picture of it on your phone, send it to your Evernote. Things, if we all got little bags that we're carrying around to different meetings and everything else, you get some information, you take down some meeting notes that you've jotted down, somebody gives you a business card, whatever. It all goes in your bag. At the end of the day, you clear out that bag when you get home, you kind of go through it, and anything in there that you need to capture, you're going to take a picture of it. It's going to go right into your Evernote. And that's the nice thing about the Evernote app too. There's a capture button on with the camera in the Evernote app. You just point it, click, boom, it's in your inbox. Physical notes. You're in a meeting, you're taking notes, your calendar, whatever. You've taken down some action items you got to do. Take a picture of it. You still have it in your organizer, obviously, but you're not. You want to know when you're going to do it. You're going to sign it. You're going to process it. So what are you going to do? You're going to take a quick picture of it, send it to your Evernote. Handwritten notes. Things that you have in your tray. Like I've still got a tray on my desk, believe it or not. Things come in that. I make sure that tray is always cleaned out, though. I don't let it pile up. What I do is, I get 5, 6, 8 things in there, whatever. At the end of the day, I process it. I pull it out. I put it in front. I quickly take, whatever amount of pictures I need to. It's all in process nice into my Evernote. I can get rid of that stuff out of my tray now. I'm just not letting stuff accumulate. Obviously your phone is going to be a big thing that you're going to, use as a capture tool. Voice notes, like I told you all the time, I use voice notes all the time. Receipts, I capture all the receipts and I take pictures of them. With things I can share. If I'm on YouTube and I see something really like useful, cool, something I want to remember or reference, I'm going to basically just share that, send it to my my Evernote inbox, boom, and I'm gonna tag it then, when I'm processing my inbox the next day, and it's going to go into my system. Evernote's got a really cool. It's called the Web Clipper. It's just a free app that you can get. Put it in your browser. You're browsing. You see something very interesting, an article you're reading online, a website that you're looking at, whatever the case may be. You can go ahead and just use the Web Clipper. It'll clip it, in whatever view that you want, full page, just a section of it, whatever, goes right into your inbox. WhatsApp, you can share stuff on WhatsApp, send it right to your Evernote. Screenshots, obviously you're looking at something, just take a quick screenshot. If you don't have the Web Clipper, you can take a screenshot, send it. Those are all things that primarily I use as capture tools. So what am I going to do now? Now I'm actually going to go ahead. I'm going to do a live demo for you. I'm going to show you how I process the things that come in, how I capture everything, how I process it, how I tag it, and how I engage with it, just to give a better idea. Okay. Okay, guys, so what are we going to do now? We're going to go ahead now and I'm going to give you a demo on what I refer to as my external brain. Remember, the whole concept as far as getting things done is to get stuff out of your head and store it someplace externally. Free up that memory so you can create more ideas, you can be more productive, you can work on taking action rather than trying to remember things. So that's why I refer to it as my external brain. But this here is you're looking at Evernote. So the first thing, let me just maybe minimize some of those. I'll show you the my notes that I currently have. Um, so because I'm recording, it's a little bit slow because I'm recording, I think. But regardless, so if you see here, these are all my notes. Now I just did a big clear out. I cleared out an unbelievable amount, like 12,000 notes there recently. But I'm left with 7,888 current notes. So, as you know, that's an awful lot to be shifting through. That's where the whole concept of organizing and processing and adding tags and things like that are going to be really, really valuable to you. Could I use this? I've been using it for a good 8-10 years now, and truthfully, it's like I probably record a lot, capture a lot more than I need to, but I just hate the idea of anything slipping away or falling through the cracks. So I just make sure that anything I think I may need I capture it. Then I just delete it later on if I don't need to. It only takes literally 10 seconds, so it's not a big deal to do it. But it's always better to have it than not need it, than need it and not have it, as far as I'm concerned. So these are the notes. You'll see right there how many notes that you have. But what do we want to focus on right now? I'm going to take you over here to my shortcuts, and we're going to go. These are all the different shortcuts that I have, and I'll explain these more as we progress. But let's go into my inbox. Okay, so when I forward things, when I capture things, rather with my taking a picture of it, rather than doing a voice note, or rather than an email that I forward to, or if I create a new note, like for some action, like if you want to create a note, you're just going to go here. You're going to click on there. You're going to click on note. You can also do task as well, but truthfully, I find the task on the version I have the basic version. There's a free version of basic and then a professional. I just use the basic version. The task features aren't very good on there unless you upgrade to the professional, and I just don't think it's worth it. Truthfully, I have another task capturing device that I organize stuff with. But if I want to create a new note, I would go in there. Like if I was going to have, for an example, a meeting with the client, I would go ahead, open up a new note. I would just go ahead and type away my notes. Then I would tag it accordingly afterwards and file it. But what I want to show you now is my inbox, where everything kind of goes into. And right now you can see there's very little in there. I've only got 4 things in there at the moment. Why? Because I processed it I processed it first thing this morning, also processed it earlier today. Truthfully, just making sure that when I did this video, I don't have a bunch of stuff in there that I wouldn't want recorded and actually put up on the internet. So so I'm not worried about anything that's in there, and the reason I left these 4 in here is because I think it's a nice little variety of things to give you an idea of what you can capture, and I'm going to step you through as far as how I actually tag things. So what else do we have? As far as these are all the different tags, and I'll step you through those more as we process it. But okay, so when you come into your inbox, you're going to process it. What's the very first one I have there? Okay, it's a receipt. It's a receipt that I captured. Okay, so it's still sitting in my inbox waiting to be processed. So what am I going to do? First, I am going to get rid of that tag. That shouldn't be in there. So I always like to give my receipts a little name, so if I'm searching through them, I just know very quickly what they are. So that's just a diesel receipt. Okay, So now I'm just going to tag it so it's organized in such an easy way. So the first thing, if you remember what we talked about before, as far as the process, as far as who, what, when, where. Um, so first thing is, who's this for? Well, this is for my company. It's for OneSource. Okay, so I'm just going to tag it as OneSource. And next thing, well, what is it? Well, it's a receipt. Okay. Sorry, there we go. So it's going to be tagged as a receipt. And what's the next one I'm going to do? Who, what is it? When? When is it? Okay. Well, this is for October 2023. Okay. And there's shortcuts to do all this stuff a lot faster, guys. I just don't want to be trying to make this too complicated, showing you shortcuts and things like that. We're going to keep this pretty basic. There's a million videos on YouTube about how to use Evernote if that's what you're looking to do, and all the different shortcuts to speed up the process. But okay, who's it for? Is for OneSource. What is it? It's a receipt. When is it? October 23rd. Also, I'm going to tag it with a VAT tag because I know that there's actually VAT on there that I can claim. See, if you look on here, I know there's VAT. I can claim back the VAT on there. So I want to make sure that I definitely do that if I can. So I'll get back that 1540. So this is for my bookkeeper and for my own accounts as well. And what else I have who, what, when, where. Where am I going to put it? I am going to put this in a folder up here for my receipts for 2023. Okay, so that way it'll go into there, and when I sort it, I'll see that it's it's October 2023. It'll be in that folder. I can do a search for it when I'm doing my VAT returns, when I'm doing any type of taxes, for my bookkeeping, my records, everything is in there. Okay, so now if you notice, it's been moved out of my inbox. That's why you want to have different folders. There's a difference between folders and tags. I have different folders. They're called notebooks. I call them folders. But there's different notebooks that you can store stuff in as well. I don't like to have too many notebooks or folders because I prefer to work more on the tag aspect. But you want to get things out of different things. So folders. So again, this is the inbox. I want that out of the inbox. Okay, so what's the next one that I have? Okay, this is something that I sent to myself. It's an email, somebody who's looking to join our team, that I went and I replied to her, and primarily I'm going to be doing a few things with this. Okay, I want to make sure that I follow up on it. I want to make sure that I if there's any additional actions or anything else. But so I'm going to tag it now. Okay, so I'm going to tag this as, first off, Patrick. Okay, so I know this is something I got to do. What is this? This is a follow-up. I'll tag it as a follow-up. Okay, it's also a prospect. Okay, and what else? So I have who's it for, what it is, when am I going to do it? That's primarily the different. I have a number of different things as far as I can tag it, as far as when I'm going to do it. But I'm not going to really worry about it because it's tagged as a follow-up. That's something I do on a daily basis. So I'm not going to assign a certain date or time or anything like that. What I'm just going to do is I'm going to say I'm going to do that soon. Okay, so, and that's going to go into my soon folder. And then where am I going to put this? Okay, so I want to get it out of the inbox. So where am I going to put it? I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this into a folder that I call to do. This is my to do folder. These are all the things that I'm actively working on. Okay, so I'm going to put it in there. And now it'll be out of my inbox. I've just processed it. Okay, I've captured all the information I need. I've put all the tags on there so I can filter it and find it very quickly. I can have peace of mind knowing that it is now in my system, my external brain, and I don't even need to put any more thought to it until I'm ready to work on it. I put this one in here as just a sample because, again, remember I told you can capture different voice notes. Voice notes as far as if you're out looking for ideas or anything like that, you can just hit the record feature on Evernote, and it'll put in your inbox as a voice note. So I'll just give you a sample as far as hopefully you'll be able to hear that.
This is an example of a audio post.
Okay, nothing greater, just a quick example, I said. But hopefully you were able to hear that. But again, it will capture all your notes. Then you can go in there and if, say, for an example, if this was, I don't know, just some idea that I had, oops, I would tag it, record. I would kind of name it a idea sample. I'm just going to put, just to give you, some example. And then if I was going to tag this, which I'm not really worried about, I'm going to get rid of this note. I'd say that it's, don't know why that happened. Okay, and what is it? It's an idea. And when am I going to do it? Well, there's no rush, so I'm going to say whenever I get the chance to. And where am I going to put it? I'm going to store this one because I don't think I'm really going to use it anymore. I'm going to store this one in the complete. So that just means I'm done with it. And again, guys, I do apologize. This is going a little bit slow, I think, because I'm recording with Evernote. But regardless, not too bad. And then so that only leaves me with one more note. And this one is, which is a project that I have. I got to do a social media post. I made this social media post video. I haven't done certain things to it yet, and I got to get it out there. So what am I going to do? First, who's this for? Well, this is for the business, so it's one source. Or I tell you what, I'm going to tag this one as Patrick because I'm going to be the one doing it. And okay, so that's going to be for me. And what is it? Well, this is a project. It's a project because why? If you remember, because it's multiple steps. Anything more than one step should really be considered a project. And you'll see here that I've already done this. I've already put the steps in there. So as I'm doing the project, I know I can tick it off because I might not get it all done in one sitting, but I got to edit it, upload it, the different social media sites, and I got to put on my members only site and some other things as well. So as I do those things, I will tick them off. So who's it for? It's for me. What is it? It's a project. When am I going to do it? Well, I really should get this one done pretty soon. And so I'm just going to tag that as soon. Where am I going to put it? I'm going to put this one into my to-do folder because this is a current thing that I need to get done. So yeah, let's put it into my to-do folder because again, the point being, I want to get it out of my inbox. So I want a nice clean inbox. Okay, so now nothing else to be processed. One more thing, when it comes to tags, and specifically when you're asking the question where, you can come up with whatever unique tags you want. Like I use the tags like desk. Like is there certain things I can only do when I'm at my desk? Do I have like car? If I things I can do like make a phone call, do creative think time, things like something like that. Anyway, that when I'm actually in the car, I can. It's not just lack of production time. I can go ahead and make sure that I have something that I can be doing. So before I get in the car, I do a quick filter on my phone. Anything that's labeled as car, I know I can work on that while I'm driving. If I'm going to a particular town or city or a place, Like if I'm going to local town is Tullamore, I'll tag things Tullamore. So I'm a half hour from Tullamore. So when I'm driving in before I get there, I'll click on Tullamore. I'll filter by Tullamore. I'll know, okay, well, in addition to whatever, getting my hair cut, I also should stop at the credit union. I should maybe go to the chemist. I should do, pick up my dry cleaning, whatever. So that way I'm not getting all the way back home and thinking, oh, Jesus, I should have remembered to do that. I look at my list. Um, but things like that, you can tailor those yourself, obviously. But think about those things, where you're going to be, where you're doing things. Um, so, but that just gives you a little idea. But what's the point of all these filters? Now, these are the filters that I use and the tags I use on a regular basis. You can create shortcuts that are okay. So the shortcuts that I have primarily is, you'll notice the first one. If you look at the first two icons, they're a little bit different than the other ones, because they're notebooks, or as I like to refer to them as folders. Okay, so again, the inbox is just primarily, there's nothing in there. That is a folder or a notebook. My to-do, if I go into my to-do, these are all the things that I have 38 things I need to do right now at the moment. Am I going to get those all done? Of course not. I'm not going to get all 38 of those things done today. And I don't have anything in there as far as my appointments. All that stuff goes in my calendar. These are just the things I've captured in actions or projects or references that basically I'm trying to store. So as far as I got 38 notes in there, but I don't want to be shifting through 38 notes because I'm not going to be doing all those. So I create these shortcuts here. So for an example, like one of my most common tags that I use is must. These are that's a list that I refer to as must. So if you see down here, the tag must. So if I just want to see what are the things that are really important, what must I get done, I can just click into there and it will filter through everything in there. And you can see now I only have 9. Okay, those are 9 things. Now, am I going to get all those things done today? Probably not, because I've got a lot of other things, and some of these things are going to take a while to do. So what do I do? Well, what do I have to do today? Because remember, we talk about the review process in GTD. When every day I go through all my must, and I'll decide what am I going to do that day. So I will basically go through those, and I will put another tag on there that I refer to as today. Okay, so I've got 7 of those things I got to do today. So I will go through those bit by bit, and that's basically my to-do list for today. And again, just different things, like if you look here, okay, I got to get my invoices out. I got to, my little project, because it's tagged as a project. Who's got to do it? I have to do it. As far as, what list am I putting it onto? I put it onto my must list, and I've already tagged it as today because it's something I have to do today. And I'll show you another one that I do as well. As I'm looking through my list throughout the day and I'm deciding, what am I going to do next, I can, and I don't always do this, but I have a tag that I refer to as next action. Okay, and again, these are only my tags, guys. You come up with what works for you. But so I know if I'm just trying to, I don't want to shift through anything. I know all I have to do, okay, I got some time blocked off in my calendar. What am I going to work on? Well, I'm going to work on what's the next thing I got to do. My next action is I got to get my invoices done. So this way I'm not looking at a long list of 7 other things and, trying again. I've already decided in advance, this is the next thing I'm going to be doing. When I'm done with this, I'll store this away in the completed, and I will go on to the next thing in the must, and I'll tag that as whatever I decide I'm going to do, next action. Which brings me to a good point. When you're blocking off stuff in your calendar, I see a lot of people, what they do is they want to go ahead and they want to create, small blocks of time. They've got 20 things they got to do, and they say, I'm going to spend 15 minutes on this, 20 minutes on this, a half an hour on that, and they try to block it off in the calendar. I don't like to do that because, first off, it's very hard to decide how long something's going to take because you get interrupted, you have things take longer, sometimes they don't take as long. So, what I like to do is I'll block off a period of time, say I block off an hour, and I'll say, well, I'm during that hour, I'm going to work on my must list. Or if maybe uh, my brain is at the end of the day and I don't have that much capacity to process things and to really focus on things, I might say, okay, well, maybe I'll just work on some, some could things that I could be doing. These are things that, yeah, they'd be nice to do, but they're not really that urgent. Whenever I get to them, a lot of it's just creative stuff or things like that, that ideas I'm working on. Or uh, it could be like my daily task. I have different daily tasks that I'd like to do on a regular basis. I have I can go check on my waiting to see, what am I waiting on? Do I need to follow up on that? But the point being is when I'm blocking off time in my calendar, I try to save that my calendar for appointments and appointments only, or things that have a set date and time. Anytime that I'm blocking things off, I just either put it as a list, my must, my should, my could, um, or whatever list that I want to devote to working on at that time, and then just pull up the list and just pick what I'm going to be working on from there. To me, that's a lot easier. It's a lot more productive. Um, what else are all the different shortcuts? I think that's going to be primarily the guts of it. So look, guys, we'll wrap it up at that. I know it's just a quick demo. I know it's nothing inbox there. So look, hope you got something out of that. Again, questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to send me a quick message, and we'll talk soon.